Hello, this is Winston Cunningham. It is August 25th, 2025, and I want to talk about addictions. Addictions are a replacement for confidence in self. It may start with, like in dreams, a doubt in yourself or pointing toward habitual thinking. You'll see animals in your dream. And animals, that's the reason, because animals do not think. They react. Impulse, like gut feeling. Gut feeling will lie to you, but it will keep you alive. What a lot of people want to call intuition is actually a gut feeling. Intuition is insight. Gut feeling is panic or alertness. That's the way animals operate. Okay. When you are habitually operating from a standpoint of reaction instead of response, then you are addicted to the physical existence only. In more real terms, that means that is indicating a need to understand more about yourself. And that's why we're here. If you're habitually sidestepping the responsibility, responding with your abilities, developing more abilities to respond, responding to your abilities, all of that. But animals just get to safety. They either eat or be eaten. So addictions are just lack of confidence. This is all. In the book Permanent Healing, it will tell you it will lay out what I'm saying about addictions. And if you're addicted to something specific like drugs, that or alcohol, that comes from the feeling of worthlessness. Through our own experience, we find out how much we're worth if we're paying attention within rather than just without. If we're just reacting to what's around us, then we're controlled by what is around us, our environment. But I present to you that the environment is here for you to use, not to be afraid of, but to, when you feel that gut feeling, that alertness, what makes an animal run or attack, one or the other. When you feel that, use that as its intention is to alert you that there's something more to see. But as an animal or one who's addicted to the physical, just run. And many people spend their whole life running. And they don't even know what they're running from because they hadn't stopped to see. Use that alertness, that gut feeling, as a stimulus to look more within. When you learn, or as you learn how to look within, and meditation is the biggest thing here because it's the act of listening within for the answer to your prayers that builds this union between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And intuition is not a gut feeling. It comes directly from your own soul, your subconscious mind. But a lot of people think they're being intuitive when they're just looking at that gut feeling. Run and hide, that's the gut feeling. Or attack, that's the gut feeling. intuition is listening to your own soul. And my experience is that your own soul will tell you what's going on if you're paying attention. Now, you've got to have the correct intention, because your soul will give you what you ask for. So you have to be careful about your intention. You've heard it from the time you were a child. Be careful what you ask for, because you're going to get it. And the reason you're going to get it is because your own soul provides it for you. It's not some magic from somewhere else. It's not magic at all. It's just that's the design. If at this point in our development, you can't make a car run on water. I think some people know how to do that, but it's what I'm talking about here is like trying to make a car run by just pouring water in it. It's not going to work at this point, unless there's some better technology to. But that's what I'm talking about: is get on the right page, get on the page that your own soul is already on and always will be on, always has been on, and you've been ignoring it, which causes ignorance. Ignoring causes ignorance. This is all. So anything can be answered. A part of the Universal Peace Covenant that's read every morning on Zoom by someone or a group of people associated with the Peace Dome in Windyville, Missouri. Somebody's inside there every morning at 7:30 reading the Universal Peace Covenant out loud. Check it out. You can find it on peacedome.org. But a part of the phrase is that, what was I talking about? Peace is built through communication. That's one of the phrases. But the phrase I was reaching for here was there's a solution for every problem, an answer for every question. And what I'm telling you here is that those answers come through your own soul, your subconscious mind. They don't come from somewhere else. Or if they come from somewhere else, it's your soul setting it up for you. Your soul makes the connections. Your soul mate is your own soul. It's not some other character. What people that don't know refer to as soulmates is just somebody they've had a different lifetime with that's they're familiar. That's all. If I knew that at the time I was getting out of high school, I may have made a different choice about marriage, because she and I had other lifetimes together. And if people are aware, they can have that information before rather than later on. And it can make a big difference, because a lot of the problems that people have is not something they created here, but something they brought with them from when they were together before. But they're oblivious to all of that because they don't know how to pay attention. School of Metaphysics teaches you how to pay attention. And you can learn this on your own, I guess, through concentration exercises, but you really need a teacher, because a lot of things you experience you don't know how to understand, and people that's been through it before may have some insight in how to understand it. And that's a big benefit at the School of Metaphysics, because people, it's amazing, because if you don't want anybody to know what's going on within you, and if you don't want to know, like my ex-wife didn't want to know, and fought it tooth and nail any way to find out. She just didn't want to know. if you're in that frame of mind, you don't want to be at the School of Metaphysics. Because once a person has done concentration exercises for a while, they're going to hear your own thoughts. So you can't BS your teacher. And that was in the first thing I heard the first night I was in class. And I didn't know where to put that until I started teaching. Because I had had some concentration and meditation experience prior to that. And it was a surprise to me. But when I was sitting on the stool in the classroom, then I began to see like my teacher was seeing me. So that's the way it works. But it's all on concentration exercise. But addiction, I know people who are addicted to very different things. There's somebody close to me that I think she's getting over it, but was addicted to pain. Now, pain has one purpose only, to get your attention, like the gut feeling, run or attack. And that's the way this person has lived and has no clue that there's another way because she refuses to look. There's an answer to every problem. A solution can be found. And it starts with you looking in here, connecting with your own soul, and meditation will get you better connected with your own soul. That's the biggest value. A lot of people think they're hearing the voice of God. They're actually hearing their own soul talking to them. Because that's the only way they can associate with anything above them or outside themselves is God. But what they don't understand yet, they will eventually, but they don't understand yet, is they are God incarnate themselves. Just like Jesus was, or Muhammad, Buddha, whoever. Everybody started with the same thing. And these leaders, like Jesus, taught us how to get on with the program. But if we choose to look at it as magic, then we're missing the whole picture. But through your own experience, you can begin to see the correct picture. The correct picture. That's what you get by looking within. So I encourage you to meditate. Addictions are simply the lack of confidence in the self. So you look to depend on something that makes you feel better. That could be religion, could be drugs, could be alcohol. They're pretty much the same thing. Now, people are scared to hear that idea because they're supposed to believe this, not believe that, supposed to do this, not do that. But that's because they are separated from their own true self. That's why they're blind. And as we speak, we're experiencing what it is that the majority who are blind needed a blind leader, and so elected one. And we're in the middle of seeing the results of that, some productive, some not so productive. But he does have people's attention. That's what he wanted. He's addicted to attention, drawn toward himself. That's his addiction, is make me look better. Whatever makes me look better, that's what I want. That's an addiction. It's the lack of confidence in what is real, what is within here, trying to create it outside yourself. You can fool everybody else maybe, but you can't fool this one. And these alerts, these gut feelings, sometimes they're just triggers. They're just alerting you that there's more to see. And when you open the door to see what more there is to see, you will see more. The School of Metaphysics was a giant door for me. That's what I needed. And I opened that door and I saw what I needed. And I appreciate it every day. And if the rest of the people even suspected that this was available, the School of Metaphysics would be flooded. But I'm telling you, they're not flooded. And it's because other people have their own addictions, religion being the biggest one. And what's coming next is, unfortunately, and could be good, bad, or ugly, but I see the potential problem here is that artificial intelligence will be a replacement for religion. I'll make note of that and check back in later. It is time to pay attention. And if you will listen to my talk, now is a good time, since I mentioned the potential of AI, is go back and listen to my talk on who runs the country. It's on this same where you saw this. You'll find it. But it's our combined thoughts, and so it's when everyone is plugged into their own intention of seeing more of themselves through their own experience, then they're going to rise above their own addictions and into something that they can actually use. Hello? This is a time, not the only time, it is a time. I mean, a big wake-up call was the COVID episode. Some people saw that, but most people still missed it like they do everything else. It was a wake-up call. This is all. Because people have to be, I don't know whatever it takes for someone to open their eyes and really look within. I know what it took for me, because I came into this lifetime with that need. And the first need I had was to overcome religion. I didn't know that, but I chose to be in the middle of religion so I could see it. And I did, and boy, I saw it. And I saw the pitifulness of what people attach themselves to. And the religion, like the one I grew up in, they kept preaching the idea that God is everything and you're nothing. Religion, churches are social clubs, nothing more. You feel better about going to church on Sunday. That's okay. That's good. And you've got a group of people that are helping you feel that. But most of the other time, you're pretty much lost because you're disconnected. And you feel more connected when you go to church, because there's more of a possibility of getting connected. That's what the church is for. But it's become pretty much a social club, and probably always has been. There's, if you look around on YouTube and look on my YouTube channel, one of the things I like is when I like a video, it shows up on the list. And I've run across a bunch of videos of people that are saying the same thing I am, that have been around and well-known people, like Einstein, that are saying the same thing I'm saying to you. In other words, these people are probably a little smarter than I am, smarter than I am. That don't take much. But what I've gained most this lifetime is to open my eyes. My eyes are open. And speaking of addictions, do I have addictions? Yes. Many of them I have risen above. And I could spend time telling you about my experiences with certain addictions. I never got into drugs and alcohol too heavy this time. I do drink once in a while, go out dancing with friends and so forth. More like social drinking, and that's a term that I would like to see eradicated because there's nothing social in drinking. There's nothing social in using drugs. You need to hear that. It's foolishness. So what I understand about myself so far, I think because one of the reasons I didn't was never addicted to drugs or alcohol is because I think I've done that already in past lifetimes. Because I've had some lifetimes that were not so much fun, and at times this one's not much fun. But but at this point I'm enjoying every minute, even the times that turn out to be not so good. But my addictions, when I catch myself in the process of being addicted, now addiction can be hidden like compulsive thinking. Now, if you keep up with your dreams, and there's a dream show webinar every Wednesday night put on by the Branch School in Palatine, Illinois. It's led by Mike Moffa, and it comes on at 6:30 p.m. Central U.S. time every Wednesday. Now, check into that, register, and just watch it for a while. And if you have a dream, share a dream, and watch and see how your own soul talks to you every night in the form of dreams. Now, the reason I mention dream is because in a dream, animals represent habits or habitual ways of thinking, or that gut feeling. That can be habitual. Whereas intuition happens in the subconscious mind. The animals or habitual thinking happens in the part of mind which you are yet conscious of, or the unconscious part. But I'm totally amazed and dumbfounded that people that have every opportunity to know better and still don't, they'll call the even well-known writers, they'll call the unconscious and the subconscious the same thing. They have no idea about the structure of mind. They are on opposite ends of the spectrum. They're not the same thing. It's just like the gut feeling and intuition is not the same thing. What's taught at the School of Metaphysics is you learn to separate gut feeling from intuition. What's the difference? Separate, identify, admit, and then integrate what is new into yourself. Separate what is habitual and what is chosen. And I can remember my teacher, Nancy Hayek, she was saying her goal was to make every move everything she does be a conscious choice rather than habit. That was her goal. And I'm working with a lot of that now, because when I catch myself being in a habit, then I can open up to see what that is really about by going deeper. And sometimes it takes a while to uncover things. Like if you're working with a dream and you find out something you're doing, well, I didn't know I was doing that, but your dream will tell you. And if you don't quite understand it yet, they'll teach you on this dream program how to incubate a dream. In other words, you ask your own subconscious mind, I'd like to really understand that. Can you show me a different way? And your own soul will give you another dream. A dream gives you the current state of your own conscious awareness. I don't know that you'll get that anywhere else except going within deeply in meditation. Study your dreams. Pay attention to your habits, or those things you do without thinking. You just automatically reach for this, automatically reach for that. And I'll just tell you about one addiction I did have. I smoked for 50 years. And I liked it. And I didn't want to quit when I quit, but I used a lot of what I understand in order to quit. But when I reached for a cigarette is because I was reluctant to deal with my own emotions. Now I have a much better understanding of emotions, and if you would like to know what I understand about emotions, I did a talk on emotions, and it's valuable to hear that. And after you hear my talk on emotions, then hear my talk on anxiety. Anxiety comes because people don't know how to deal with their emotions. So it's a stepping stone thing. And that's another one of my talks. I'm just a stepping stone. That's all. Don't want people to follow. I want people to hear what I'm saying so they can tell somebody else that may need to hear. That's all. I don't want to be the most popular person on the internet. You know, I don't look like a king anyway. Or not a good looking one anyway. Of course, not all the kings were good looking. As we saw in some of the movies. But anyway, the addiction to cigarettes is one that I rose above because I'm paying attention to my emotions. And emotions, I'll just tell you this about emotions. Emotions have one purpose. That is to clarify your own thoughts. And it will do so. But if you break and run habitually, you miss it. When you feel an emotion, hold it still until you can see which of your thoughts it relates to. Like I was telling a lady yesterday, she sneezed. And I asked her if she knew what that meant. I said, no. I said, well, if you sneeze once, you're reacting to a thought you just had that you weren't aware of. So if you hurry, you can go back and catch that thought and get some understanding from it. If you sneeze repeatedly, a bunch of times, then you're in the frame of mind that you're worried about an upcoming event. All of these things, if you haven't done it yet, get you a copy of Permanent Healing from the School of Metaphysics. Or you can order it from anywhere. But get a new copy because it's updated occasionally. But it'll tell you the attitudes connected with each of these elements. It don't start in the physical body, it starts in the mind. Because the physical body is a reflection of the mind, an overcoat. Well, it feels like I've just opened the subject here, but I think I've talked long enough. But there's, for bits and pieces, here's some of my other talks. Anyway, this is Winston Cunningham, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you.